So welcome everybody. It's Jeff Duggins with Outdoor Network Services and Crystal Geist with at iOS with our third webinar series. The first two series we focused on websites and SEO. The second one, if you missed it, these are available on our group page to download and watch if you so please. Was free advertising, sorry, with social media, reputation management, and that. And today we are going to talk about paid ads for your landscaping business. I say we're going to talk about, and Crystal's mainly going to talk about this as is her area of expertise. So without further ado, Crystal, I will switch it over to you. And if you have any questions or anything, just be sure to post in the Q&A section of that, and we will pause periodically to answer questions. All righty. So as we talk, I just introduce yourself, so I don't think we need this screen. And so I should have switched to this before I introduced everything, Crystal. So like I said, the first webinar, we went over websites and SEO. The second webinar, we did social media, email marketing, reputation management. So we covered lots of topics there. I would say the paid ads and SEM is just as equally as long, even though it's not, or just as many topics to cover, even though it's not as long as the, didn't have as many line items as the other ones. So without further ado, Crystal, I'll let you take it from here.
All right, sounds good. So I'm Crystal Geist, owner of Ad iOS. I team up and partner with Outdoor Network Services on websites, SEO, and paid ads. And then today, I wanted to kind of go back a little bit and just kind of explain where paid ads come into all of this. So first of all, you have to have an internet presence. You have to have your website in working order. I can send people to your website through paid ads all day long. However, those people aren't going to convert on a website that's not mobile responsive or that doesn't have the proper call to actions. You have to be very strategic on how you tell people what to do when they get to your website. It's just kind of like directional when they walk in your front door. They need to know what it is that they're there for and what they're supposed to do. And so this first slide here, we talked about in the last meeting that I did, and I just wanted to talk about this again because a lot of people think that internet marketing in general is SEO, and it is not. So SEO is what's tied to your website and your internet presence. You do have to pay for these things to get there, but then once you get there with SEO, it's organic traffic that is driving to your site. I always like to just mention again, because this is so important where people get confused, is that SEO is, think of it as the organic traffic that's coming to you. And once you get on that first page, as long as you continue to do things and update your website and keep things current, then you're really not going to lose that unless your competitor just does better than you. So again, 40%, if you look at this slide here, you'll see 40% over on the right-hand side is all made up with how your website is actually built and what's on your website, the content on it. Another thing that SEO has to do with when it comes to paid ads is that having keywords on your SEO side that you're indexed and ranking for can help with the deliverable and the relevancy that Google sees on the paid ad side when you start doing SEM and display ads and social media ads and things of that nature. Another catch that people don't understand when it comes to websites, SEO, and their paid ads is that you have to have traffic to your site in order for your SEO to really start picking up. So now that you've got a good website and you've got content on your website, you have to have people there too. It's another portion of SEO and how it's built. So paid ads is a good way to get more people there faster and immediate. So you can see over here on the left-hand side, the rest of SEO and where that comes from your social, your local, your Google My Business, which we talked about that in a previous video that we did as well. And then offsite linking and engagement. And so some of your engagement can really come from paid ads as well.
Yeah. So
do you have anything to add in there, Jeff? Sorry.
Well, one of the things we saw with H2O Designs is when we did SEO and organic for years and years, and like as soon as we started signing up for the paid ads through you guys and started getting more traffic, we noticed that we were getting more pages ranked, better results. And like I said, it's because that Google recognizes that we're just having more engagement with that part of it. So
absolutely.
Alrighty.
So do you want to pull up an internet browser to kind of show the difference between, oh, you've got it here. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're going to dive right into search engine marketing. So there are a ton of buzzwords out there. And if you all have any questions, just feel free in the Q&A to ask those, and we'll stop and pause, or you can raise your hand and we can have open discussion as well. So I'm a Google partner, and I'm also Google Ads certified, analytics certified, all of those fun things. And so let's talk a little bit about search engine marketing. There's so many buzzwords that you hear out there when it comes to paid internet ads. But I'm going to break it down and make it super simple. So to be paying for an ad, you're either paying for to be on a search engine, which is called search engine marketing. It's also called PPC because it's a pay per click model. And it's also considered Google ads. So there's lots of different variations of that. And whoever you choose to do these ads for you, you want to make sure that they're doing it direct and not going through a third party, because a lot of things can easily get skewed when you do that. So if you have any questions about your own Google ads, feel free to jump in and ask those questions. I'd be happy to answer those for you today. Here you can see that a paid ad has the little ad beside it. So the only way to be in these top 4 positions above the map listing is to have an actual paid ad. You always have to pay to be in these positions. And you can also see that when you have your location extension to your Google My Business or your Google Map listing, then you can also come up in a top spot and a paid spot there as well, where you might not rank otherwise. So if anybody has any questions, again, please ask. But just looking through at this listing here, you can see this has a call ad attached to it. So you can actually click to call on this phone number right here. You can see this is a title here. We do responsive.
Sorry, I clicked. Sorry. Can I right click and go back? Nope. Shoot. All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you'll have to exit the full view probably.
Yeah, click happy. There we go.
And then you can see these are site link extensions, where we're touting things like that they can actually shop in their pawn store because they're retail as well. You can see that they also offer some type of financing. And you can also click here and go straight to their directions. So in a pay-per-click model or search engine marketing, Google Ads, you're only paying if someone clicks. So you're not paying for impressions in this model, you're paying for the clicks themselves. So this is, sorry, go ahead.
So is this something, and this is just a question for me. So when you set up the ads, is this something that you set up with the ads as well, or does it pick that up from our websites to list those sub items there?
Yeah, so your site link extensions, we set all of that up, but it's all mobile, it's all responsive. So it's going to pull in different areas, different descriptions with different titles based on the keywords and what was actually put into Google.
So that's something that doesn't automatically get set up. You all have to go in and know how to set all that stuff up in the itself. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, correct. Yes. Does anybody have any questions or anything about that? Part of what we do in the beginning is, we work with a lot of contractors, a lot of landscapers, a lot of pond professionals, lake professionals. So we are very versed in your all's industry. And so that really helps, because I can't tell you how many times that I will see a contractor come to us and say they're a roofer and all of their clicks went to Red Roof In. And even though Red Roof In wasn't a keyword they were paying for, it happened because the person running the ads was not watching the search term report, and red should have been a negative keyword. So there's just a lot that goes into being an expert in this area. You can easily waste your money on Google Ads. There are people that do it themselves, and there's a lot of errors that occur because Google changes every single day. They change their platforms and how things are done. And if you're not full-time staying up to date in that, it gets very confusing and you can get lost really fast. So we're here to help with that. And we also do consulting. So if you need some just information about what you're doing, we'd be glad to help you there too.
Yeah, so I think that was one of the things I actually dabbled in this before we hired you, Crystal, and that's one of the things that I was bad at as a business owner was I spent the time in February to set the ads up, and I really never ever looked at them again until July or August. So they were just out there, and I was spending money, wasn't tracking it, wasn't doing anything for that, and that's part of what running a successful ad campaign. And if you're gonna DIY, well, my suggestion would be if you make sure it's part of your weekly routine to go in and tweak and look at those things, or hire somebody out to make sure that they're watching that for you with that. I mean,
Yeah, because Google's going to take your money. Trust me, that's what they want.
yeah, and they were definitely taking hours.
Yeah. Okay. Any other, we got a question here. Let me check this. What is a good monthly budget for SEM or PPC? This is an awesome question. So there's not a way to say that overall. In general, we want people to start at least $500. And so the reason for that is because $500 is really a kind of budget for like a one county area that doesn't have a lot of competition. Okay. So your cost per click is determined by your area. So the way that we figure what your budget should be is we're going to go in and see how many of your competitors are bidding on the same keywords, what that average cost per click is. Because if you think about a budget of, say, $350 a month, well, that's $11.66 a day if you break that out over a 30-day period, I think. Don't quote me on my math. It's something similar to that. But then if you look at the cost per click, and the cost per click, say, for your keyword is, $11 a day. Well, that's one click per day that you're going to get based on that keyword. So the budget has a lot to do with what keywords you're going after, what the cost per click is in your market. I like to tell people that the pay-per-click model is very similar to the stock market. It depends on who's willing to kind of bid what, and the more people that are willing to bid, the higher that cost gets driven up. So I have window or guys that do replacement windows, and in the area that I actually live in, it's $38 average cost per click. So if they're not spending $38, then where's their budget going? Google's going to try to find a way to spend that budget. So if they don't know what they're doing, all of their money will be spent in some way, shape, or form, but it's probably going to things like people looking for window software like Windows or window tinning, or there's so many words that go with window, or there's so many words that go with pond or contractor, or so if you really don't know what you're doing, it's very easy for that budget to get spent anyways, but not for the correct thing that that you're wanting to spend your money on.
Yeah,
Does that answer that question?
I think it did.
Okay.
So we do a lot of home shows and a lot of trade shows and stuff, and we get people that come through, and we're selling the SEO value through our network and through the websites and stuff. And we get people all the time. So I just spend $100 a month on Google ads, and I get all the traffic I need. And it's really, it doesn't make sense to me in my mind. You don't want to get confrontational, obviously, at a home show or something like that, but it doesn't make sense. So I mean, it's obvious to me after learning through working with you that if you're spending $100 a week or $100 a month, and you're like, what'd you say, pond builder is like one of the highest terms that you've seen in our area with that. So I mean, if you're spending that money, you're not getting a lot of value back out of that. And in my opinion, it sounds to me like not knowing anything about this, but you might as well just take that $100 and gamble with it and try to get your money back.
Yeah. So and sometimes what that can be, Jeff, is you could have somebody that lives in a town that has 15,000 people in it, and that's the only town that they service, and nobody else in town does that. Well, I wouldn't tell them to run paid ads anyways, because it's really easy to get them indexed organically.
Right.
So that, they would be throwing their money away if that was the case. So there's so many different variables that go along with these paid ins and so much bidding and optimization on the back end that Google's going to take your money. So if you want to throw $100 away, they're going to take it.
I got you. All right, ready for the next slide?
Yep.
Any other questions? Again, just post some questions up here, guys, and we'll stop along the way. So I think this is a subject that I got confused in the very beginning. I know a lot of contractors get confused with the difference between paid pay-per-click ads and Google ads and social media targeting with that. So
yeah. So if you don't care, can we go to the buzzwords?
Yep. Where's that at?
This one.
This one.
Okay. All right. So in general, let's talk about what the different buzzwords are outside of search engine marketing, because the rest of these buzzwords, they are all surrounded around banner ads and video ads. Okay. So banner ads are also called display ads. Those can show up on social media. Those can show up on ESPN. They can show up on your local news, local newspaper website. They can show up on recipe.com, but they're all targeted. So anytime that we do a graphic ad, which would be like a banner ad, those are all targeted first, geolocation. Everything that we do will always be targeted geolocation first. That can be done in a radius or by a zip code, however you prefer that. And remember, the bigger area you go, the easier it is to spend your budget. So if you have a small budget, I suggest sticking to a smaller area first. And then you can target these people based on what their interests are, what they're reading about online, demographics. So by their age, household income, do they own a home? Then you can do website retargeting. They've been to a website, you want to bring them back to a website. Keyword retargeting, which goes back to the search engine marketing. Search engine marketing is all keywords. So once they've typed in that keyword, pond contractor, landscape professional, landscape designer, whatever that is, you can bring them back to your website with a graphic ad that they're seeing. And that graphic ad can show up on any website as long as they're geo-targeted in the right area. And they also meet one of these behaviors. And I like to just call it an in-market audience, because they're either reading about, they've made a search on a search engine, they've been to a website, they fit a demographic, or it even their devices are listening to what they're talking about in their homes. So ads can be displayed based on, just talking to your spouse about, hey, we really need to get this pond out here cleaned, and I want to get a new outdoor kitchen this year. And so they're having a conversation in their kitchen, and then their Alexa or their Google Home or their cell phone is sitting right there listening to them. So then from there, they fall into an in-market bucket that we can target them through either Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Snapchat ads, TikTok ads. You can target those people based on their location and what they're in market for. Then there's also CRM targeting. So if you have a healthy list of emails, we can scrub those emails, make lookalike audiences, get their IP addresses, and target them with banner ads as well, or video ads. And then there is just in general what we call behavioral targeting, because they fit into multiple groups of these buzzwords here that you'll hear different agencies and marketers talk about. And then also, if you have products that you sell, Jeff, if you'll open up a web browser and just type in pond aerator.
Yeah, I think that, let me figure this out.
If you hit exit, it should take you out of it, I think.
I think I have to stop the shares. I shared this one window and not my whole screen. So let's
okay.
let's just do that. Stop sharing, and then I'll reshare screen.
Yeah. So again, when you're talking about the paid ads, like, we really like to simplify it. So you have your search engine marketing, which is on a search engine, people are typing in words, or you have banner ads that can come across social media, or video ads. And everything that that we do is targeted to a in-market audience. However, they're searching, what they're doing online. The internet knows all about them.
So what am I looking for here, Crystal? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just open another browser up and just type in pond product, pond aerator, for instance, or pump, or any of those.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can also, these are also ads. So you see these products here, Crystal Clear, pond aerator from the Pond Guy. So these are ads that you can actually shop the products for. So that's what a product feed, a dynamic product feed is called through Google Ads.
Okay. So you
and the
mentioned,
reason we, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
The reason I talk so much about Google is because 93% of all the searches that are starting on a search engine are happening within Google. Do you care to open up the weather.com?
Nope. I'll go there a lot, right?
Mm-hmm. So now you'll see this is a banner ad here as well, Advanced Auto Parts. And so, Jeff, do you know why they're targeting you? Have you looked at windshield wiper blades?
Looks like it, doesn't it?
Yes. And then you're also being targeted for SEO.
Yep,
and then if you scroll down, and anyone, you can open up weather.com for yourself. It's going to show you something different than it shows me, because it's targeting you based on searches that you've made. So look, Jeff's been searching for flight. He's got Frontier coming up there.
That's right. Leaving out of here this weekend.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting, and you can play around with that and look on multiple websites. And then Jeff, will you open up your Facebook page? I want to talk about Facebook ads real quick.
Yep. If I can get.
So Facebook ads are essentially just another display ad or video ad. It's just done on that platform specifically versus the millions of websites that Google is connected to. Yes. So if you scroll down there, you're going to see here Jeff's being targeted with a company because they know that he's in the marketing world. So he's being targeted there with that. So this is a Facebook ad. These over here that say sponsored with this guy on the right-hand side. Here's a construction sales academy he's being targeted with, and a business mastery because they know that he's a business owner. So those are all ads as well. And then ads can come through your story on Facebook and Instagram. We talk about Facebook and Instagram together because they're both owned by the company Meta now. And so Facebook ads, they used to be one of my favorite things ever, but they've changed recently. They're not as easy to target people because they lost their partnership with Apple. And that's kind of changed some things. It doesn't mean that they don't work. They do work. They just cost a little bit more money. But all of your display ads are also a pay-per-click model on the back end as well. But you can also think about it as an impression buy. A lot of traditional media companies like to sell them based on the per thousand. So when you think about display and you think about $15 per thousand is usually about how many impressions you get, $15 to $20. And then when you think about video, if you want to open YouTube, and when you think about video ads, it doesn't have to be just YouTube, but YouTube is the giant for watching video. Even a lot of websites that video is placed on is actually housed through YouTube as well. So if you were to click on anything here, you would see that ads are also delivered on the outside of these, and they're also delivered when you're watching the video. And so ads can be skippable, they can be non-skippable. They can, and they know the way that we set them up is by the algorithm that knows how the end user participates with an ad. So if I'm the kind of person that if there's an ad there and Google will know that I'll go away from it. But what they know how to do is to let the video start playing and then deliver me the ad once I'm engaged in it, and then I'll stay and wait through the ad. So you
Seen
in the
videos
video,
before. Sorry, I've seen videos before where you get a minute into it and then they break away to an ad. Is that what you're talking
yeah,
about with that?
yeah. So 5 or 6 years ago, it used to be that we would sell these and allow people to pick. Do you want your ads to show up in the beginning, at the end of the video, in the middle of the video? Where do you want your ad to show up at? But now we just allow Google, because Google knows the algorithm. So we set everything up as responsive, which just means let Google pick how that's delivered based on the end user, and how they respond to ads. Any questions about the video or the banner display ads or Facebook ads? I've kind of thrown it all out there together because, again, paid ads are just banner ads or video ads, and they're either all over the internet, or they're on a specific social media network. Or you can pay to have them on specific websites, like your local news channels and stuff sell their website inventory, but you can also get on their website by going through a company like that as well.
Can you talk about, because I know this came up with us when we were doing advertising, the difference in budgets and costs for doing pay-per-click versus going into display ads and even video ads? Because that was a huge part of our conversation when we were trying to decide on a budget and what we wanted to target and what the result, like the return on investment, was going to be for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So display ads in general, they run off of an impression buy. So when you're thinking about a budget for them, it's more of a set amount because you're going to get more impressions, which are eyeballs, versus the click-through rate. So remember, I told you on the search engine marketing that if you see an ad and you don't click on it, you don't get charged for that. But on display ads, you're charged by the impression. So your click-through rate is going to be much lower on a display campaign. You're looking at around 1% versus your click-through rate is going to be much higher. The average, I think, is 3.58% on search engine marketing or PPC ads.
Okay. So those numbers sound like, and this was one of my learning curves as well, is when we started looking at my first reporting, I'm like, oh my God, this isn't working at all. But I think understanding that, a 3 or 5% click-through rate is relative to, it doesn't sound good when you say it, but it's relative to what the industry standard is. So you have to take that into consideration too, and not panic like I did and call you and like, this isn't working. Right. All right. So
yeah, because you have to understand too, with display ads, like you're searching for something in the moment and you've seen this ad. So a lot of that is repetition. So the more times you see a brand, the more it's going to kind of stick with you. And so it's just like following up with your all's landscape clients. Like they might call and get a quote from you in September, and then you don't hear anything back from them. Well, if you stay top of mind with them, eventually that work's going to come through. It might have been something like they need to get financing, or they need to, finish their home equity line, or whatever that is that they're probably not sharing with you. But if you stay in front of them and stay on top of following up until you get a definite no, we've gone with someone else. And that's the same thing. And a good way to think about banner advertising is that it's bringing that brand recognition to the right person. It's just, you need to be seen multiple times, a lot in front of them. Like you see this barbecue guy ad here. It's in 3 different positions and it's showing 3 different things because it knows it's the end user is right. It's just trying to get you to act on it.
Right. So we have another question. Can you target specific demographics with the display ads?
Absolutely, yes. So go back to the buzzwords there.
Okay.
Yeah, so anything that's display and video, you can target any of these things. Now, if you are a bank, of course, there's some demographic stuff you can't do. If you're in housing or employment, it's a little bit different on demographics. But yes, you can target a zip code with just the household income amount and a homeowner if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think for this industry, especially in the water feature and outdoor living world, doing that audio retargeting and keyword retargeting, targeting things about when people are searching for those particular products or talking about those products and that type of thing really works well for those specific markets that are but not like, for example, for water features, only 10% of the world even knows what a water feature is, much less wants one. So you're trying to target. My rule of thumb's always been that I don't want to target to 100% and try to reach 10%. I want to target to 10% and reach 80% of that 10% market that's actually interested in the product that we're selling and we're doing for people. And I think that's where on paid ads, especially in SEO, come into versus your TV, your radio, and newspaper ads and things like that.
Yeah. This is a good question too. Can you set them up and run them at a specific time of day? Absolutely. In your industry, I don't recommend it because you might have a doctor as your client who's up at 2:00 in the morning thinking about what his wife wants him to do with his outdoor kitchen, or that, he's got to find somebody to take care of his landscape and stuff because he doesn't have time, and that's on their mind. If you were a restaurant and I was advertising for wings, then yeah, I wouldn't have to advertise for you when you're not open. It might not make sense. But ultimately, like it's better to just know your market, and get that in-market audience and let Google choose when, because if you set up for conversions, which is what we do, then Google's going to work really hard to get that conversion and make it happen for you. So the time of the day in your industry isn't going to matter. But again, if you were in an industry that was very specific, say your business only did breakfast, well, you would have to think about, do you want to brand recognition, your brand, for people to think about it whenever they're thinking about breakfast, or do you only want your ads to run when people can actually click to order? So those are just questions that your marketing person would be able to have with you. But ultimately, in the contractor world, I would say that you run your ads. You don't set a certain time, because that's like you trying to dictate what the internet and the algorithm already knows about that person making the search in that thin market. So mainly, you just want people who are searching for your services, reading about your services. They're in an in-market audience, and they're in the location that you choose. That's the non-negotiable. First thing is always selected is the areas that you service. So even though your ads could come up on ESPN, you don't want to dictate that, because you don't know where your end user is going next. You just know that they've made a search for a pond contractor in the last 15 days. And because they've made that search, now you're going to follow them around with a banner ad for the next 30 days. And to try to get them to convert. And you don't care if they're on ESPN, you don't care if they're on the Washington Post or CNN, as long as they live within those parameters that you set of their location.
Yes, one of the things that we discussed about, and we actually reduced our ad spend for the first couple of years in the wintertime when we were slower. And what we found personally, and you kind of warned me of this, is by keeping a consistent ad run through the December, January, and February times, we get a consistent flow of leads, not near as much as what we get in the springtime when everybody's searching for everything, but it fills in, where we can do 4, 5, 6 maybe appointments during December, January, and February, where before we started doing that, we really didn't get those leads from organic, because people weren't quote unquote searching for the things. They were finding that what I think we found was we were popping up on Facebook and different places, and people are like, oh, I might as well go ahead and get this out of the way. So click here, or I forgot about this. I don't want to wait till March. I want to go ahead and get on the list for my pool area design and things like that. So it from a real life perspective for H2O Designs, we did see a consistent flow of leads, not nearly what we see during the season, but it was more than what we saw the previous years by doing a consistent ad routine, or ad campaign, I should say, through the wintertime. So we get a lot of customers that want to either cancel in the winter or reduce down. So we always tell them that, you can cancel if you want to, but you're going to lose that traction. And you never know when last year we honestly got a $400,000 job in the wintertime.
You know why? Because those were responsible customers. They were doing their research
exactly
in your slow time, so that they knew they were on your list when spring gets here, versus those panic clients that are like, oh, you can't get to me tomorrow. You have people in front of me. And
Right.
they're just like running around, going crazy, trying to find any contractor to help them because they're so last minute. So
Yeah, and
it
you're
is.
right. We do get more quality leads in the off season than we do during the regular season. So,
Yeah,
alrighty.
those are people that are prepared.
Yes, well, we like that as a company.
Yeah.
Alrighty, where are we going to next?
Let's see what slide we have next here. And if we have any other questions, please feel free to answer those. So this slide just, and if you want a copy of this, Jeff can share this with you. This just talks more about responsive display ads. We've already really went through all of these.
Right.
What is the next slide there?
Let's see here.
Yeah, so this is video. And so we talked about this already as well. Demographics, behaviors, and market audiences. Zip codes always first, or the radius, their location, no matter what ads we do, always, 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 the first thing we pick is their location. So even though, again, I say this over and over, if your ads show up on ESPN, it's not to someone in another state, it's someone in your location.
Yes.
So this just breaks down more what we've already talked about. We run programmatically so that you're not having to pick and choose, oh, do I want my ad to be at the end of the video or the beginning? It doesn't matter. Let Google pick that with the algorithm. They know who they're delivering to already.
Okay.
And then this slide here just talks about landscaping. So these are our landscaping clients that they've seen an increase by doing, allowing us to take over their paid ads. 587% increased impressions on average in a year, and 461 increased clicks over a year's time.
Cool. So those, yeah, I would say our numbers are absolutely in line with that. So I think that's all the slides that we have. So let's talk about what the top 3 questions that you would recommend somebody asking you if they hired you as their to do paid ads. What do you think you should ask?
Oh, questions that they should ask?
Yes.
So they should definitely ask about negative keywords. So that's very important in the industry. And then they just need to have a conversation with whoever does their paid ads to make sure they understand their industry. They understand what products and services that they're promoting and what season. And also what, your agency should be asking you questions like, what service do you offer that has the highest return on investment? Because that's ultimately what you should be marketing. So if you have 10 different services that you do, but you have one that you're really good at and you're really profitable on, market that service, get more of that, really try to hone in on that qualified quality lead that you can take the best care of. And if your agency is not having consulting conversations like that with you, then they really probably don't know your industry and aren't going to do good for you on the back end of the side of things that you can't see.
So I have 2 questions for you from that. What I think I know the answer to this one, but explain it. What is it real quickly? What is a negative keyword?
So a negative keyword would be like we're running ads for a roofer, let's just say. And that roofer is looking to get roofing, homeowners that need a new roof. They want to sell replacement roofs. And so what we would do, red would be a word. So red roof in is searched a lot. And it would be very easy for us to take all your budget and go to red roof in. So red would be a negative keyword. And for pond contractors, that are looking to clean and maintenance ponds and stuff. Well, there's a lot of products out there people are searching for. So you want to make sure that your agency knows what all of those products are that you're not selling, you're selling the service. You want to make sure that contractor goes with a lot of those keywords as well.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
For landscapers, make sure they're not searching for mowers. Like, certain brands and stuff of mowers need to be negative keywords. Lowe's and Home Depot need to be negative keywords. A lot of people are searching things like that, and they happen to build that keyword in with it. And so you want to make sure your budget's not getting wasted on a client that's not really looking for a contractor.
So to be clear, that when you set up a negative keyword, if that keyword is typed in, it triggers your ads not to display for that search. So
Yeah, because even though the keyword I have in might be, I'm going to use roof again because it's easy to understand. So let's just say that roofer or roof contractor is the keyword. Okay. So if roof contractor is the keyword, but say that was set on a broad match, because it just has roof in it, and then the person typed in red roof, well, they would just match those roofs together, and that's how that would be displayed. But you would only see the keyword that you were paying for unless you really knew what you were doing on the back end. So what we have to make sure of is that the red is the disqualifier, that that's not what you're looking for, or the Home Depot, or whatever that specific manufacturer brand is. If someone's just looking for that brand online, even though you sell a brand that's similar, it might not be where you want your click to go. You might be looking for more of the people looking for the contractor versus people just looking for the product.
Right.
So we just have to be very specific on that.
Second question is, and we get this question a lot, and I've actually taken this question to you for H2O Designs marketing. Should you be, how often should you change your ads up, if at all, during the year? And like for us, we have seasonal services like pond cleaning, fall cleaning, and we also have a multiple of services. So if we get really booked out on our outdoor living or want more pond work, should we switch those up, and how often should that happen on a semi-normal basis?
Yeah, so again, it depends on your industry, your seasons. So your season should go with what you're advertising. However, your creative doesn't always have to change. Again, anytime you set up a new ad campaign, now if you have some kind of special or something like that, then you can change it out. You all really aren't in a world that you're like, oh, it's 20% off right now or something to that nature. Because of that, you can add those things as like site link extensions and stuff if you have a promotion or something, but keeping your advertising programmatically responsive to that end user and keeping it the same. When you're building that algorithm, when you go in and set up a whole new ad and a whole new campaign, it loses your algorithm and you have to start over. If your ads aren't generating, then that is fine. You need to go in and start over. You need to go build a new algorithm, basically, by building a new campaign. But if they're generating and they're targeting, then I would not go in and mess with that. I would keep that messaging the same, keep that campaign the same. But if you wanted to like just spruce up the text to it or something of that nature, you definitely could do that. But it knows how many times in that campaign that it's delivered that ad to a certain end user. And so as long as you're getting leads from it, I wouldn't go in it and it's just the service industry without like a monthly special. So like I have garden centers, for instance, they change seasonally based on when it's like flowers or shrubs and trees or landscape design, or they start selling fall mums and pumpkins and all that stuff, or things trees in the winter time or Christmas time in winter. So that stuff you would change out based on that. But if you're just a service industry, you don't need to change that out unless you're not generating ads. If you're not generating ads, then you want to go back to the table and relook at it and redo it.
And last, I'm going to do two things, but we got about 15 minutes left and not seeing a lot of questions. So I'm kind of trying to hit on some key things. First thing I want to hit on is we'll go over and look at some statistics and kind of how to read what's going on with that.
Okay.
And totally had a brain lapse on the other thing I was going to ask. So I'll come back to that when I find it. So let me see if I can get to reporting screen. Let's see here. There we go. I think that'll get us there. Yep. Oh, other guy. I'm totally okay. So in the advertising world, explain and you this is one of the first things you tell all the customers. Did it load? It didn't load correctly. Let me refresh that. There we go. So explain, when I first look at this as a customer, and I think I did this to you, explain why these negatives are not really negatives on the report.
Yeah. Well, we're looking at December, so we're looking at your lowest month of searches in general, and this is taken into consideration November, so the end of your season kind of. So you're going to have a drop in your website users, so 38% is not something to be concerned about because you're still getting that traffic. And this takes into consideration your organic traffic as well on this page because we're looking at your website analytics here.
Oh, that is
Um,
what, let me go to, I'm sorry. Let me go to, sorry,
Okay.
there we go. So
Yeah.
this is, in my opinion, this, be honest with you, when I come and look at this report on a monthly basis, this is all I look at. I look at total impressions, and I know I got 578 people that click through my website and phone numbers. So I mean, as long as those numbers are good, then I don't look at anything else. But explain kind of what, I mean, is that all I need to look at really when you're looking at reporting? And number two, does everybody do this type of reporting? Like, I mean, this is pretty detailed for us. I mean, have you seen this from other vendors or whatever?
Well, you should never work with an agency that doesn't give you any reporting, and definitely one that avoids talking about any decreases because they do happen from time to time. And sometimes you can pinpoint whether it's the fact that your ad spend dropped, that can always be a thing, or just that it's seasonal for it. But yeah, so you have a healthy number of eyeballs that you're getting. This is your overall. So this is taken into consideration your display ads and your PPC ads together. So you can see even in an off month, your click-through rate is still above average. So you're doing good there. Your click-through rate on your display ads is also good and healthy still. You can see your different ad groups that you have running over here. So you can see if they're display or if they're search. You're always going to have way less impressions on search than you are on your display side of things.
Okay.
You can see here your fall maintenance, your PPC had a 5.94% click-through rate and a 15.38% click in conversions there. And then you can also see if you scroll down, you can see if your search is lost for your rank and you're not losing any significant amount of search based on rank. So that's your SEO value there. And then this is showing you if any of your search is lost based on budget, and there's not enough to be worried about. But oftentimes there'll be other competitors that come in, and even though nothing ad-wise has changed for you, the cost per click has went up because there's someone else new to the market who's taken some of that budget as well.
Good
So,
all right. Anything? Let's see here. So takeaways, I think it's the same with I know what I was going to ask. So would you recommend someone that has a limited budget, should they start out with a website? I mean, if they don't have a website at all, it's really hard to run paid ads without a website, right?
Correct. They could always, if they had like a service page directory or something with their information on it on the Outdoor Network services, we could always deliver them there. But you have to have something that's convertible to send them to. So some kind of page they're going to need.
So it's kind of the same analogy as what we do when we talk about websites and stuff. If you have a crappy website, a crappy landing page that doesn't promote conversions, have a click to call a website, you're promoting and spending money and sending them to a piece of a representation of your company it's not going to produce a phone call or a lead or anything like that. Correct?
Yes, correct.
We have one more question. It says, do paid ads affect your Google business ranking?
No, if anything, they enhance them. Because you're going to connect your location extension, and Google knows whenever you're spending money, and they like you better when you spend money, of course. So if anything, it would improve your Google My Business ranking.
Good deal. So takeaways are same as websites. Define what you're willing to spend, and make sure that's going to be a good budget for when if you're going to do it yourself, to make sure that that you're going to get what you want out of it. Know your audience demographics, know where you want to work at. Like you said, if you have a subdivision or a zip code that predominantly produces better jobs, more profitable jobs, whatever, then absolutely target that zip code. Find find what you have and what you need, define short-term, long-term strategy. Basically the same as what we do for everything from websites to social media, all the paid ads. Just know your numbers and know what you're going to spend. And if you educate yourself and or hire somebody professional like yourself, then you're not going to waste your money. Correct?
Absolutely. Yep,
Alrighty.
those are some good
Anything else to
takeaways.
add?
Anyone has any questions or anything, feel free to reach out. And we'd love to help you. There's another question. Let's see what that is.
Okay.
Can I target my Facebook posts if I don't have a website? You can, yes. I don't recommend it because you want to send them somewhere to convert to. So if you were going to do that and do that through Facebook, then I would recommend that maybe you would try an ad that allows them to go straight to your messenger. Facebook's really hard to use as a website because when people go to your Facebook page, they're not going to go and like scroll and scroll and scroll and see all your posts. They're just going to go and see like the last few. So if that was the situation, I would recommend a messenger ad so that it was connected directly to your messenger if you didn't have a website to send them to.
Yeah, I mean, I think just being selfish for the outdoor network services, I think for the price of a landing page and a couple of service pages, I think you're going to get your conversion. So we have the clickable phone numbers, we have the forms to fill out, we have everything with that. So for the monthly investment versus just sending to Facebook, I don't think if you're going to spend money on paid ads, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to kill you to spend $100 to $150 on some service pages and a landing page, just because I would argue if you don't have that money that extra money to spend, then you need to be focusing your dollars somewhere else on that.
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
All righty. Well, thank you, everyone. We got done a little bit early today. I will be posting the recording of this video on our Facebook group, Outdoor Network Services. If you're not a member of that group, absolutely join. It's free to join. All you gotta do is answer a few questions and agree to the terms and conditions. Also, we have you can sign up for a free listing on our network to give it a try to kind of see how the SEO works for you before you actually buy into it. So we've started that program as well. It is a limited listing for a free listing, so you don't get all the benefits you would for a paid listing, but you want to see how we can rank you organically and how things show up, then absolutely reach out to us or go to our Facebook group page or on our website and sign up for that. Anything else, Crystal? All righty. You guys have a great day, and thank you for joining, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.